I'm here to help you out. I'm going to guide you every step of the way into launching your first single player game. I'm going to walk you through the options and settings that I use when setting up a single player game and explain why I choose these options. There's lots of other ways of setting it up. This is just what I do, but I hope it's helpful. Hello, my fine feathered friends. I'm Songbird, and on this channel, I make videos about Ark and other survival games, especially building, lots of tutorials, and some modded gameplay. I hope that you'll stick around and let's get into it. All right, so when you first load in here to the main menu, if you need to turn the music down, hit escape, and then you can go into settings here. And the first option is audio, and you can turn down that master volume, or you can turn down just the music volume. You don't want to turn it all the way off though, because the music is awesome. And in game, you're going to want to be able to hear the ambient sounds around you for the sake of knowing when a dinosaur is sneaking up on you, stuff like you want to make sure to leave that special effects volume on, ambient volume on, at least to some level. I'm just going to hit save for now and go back to the main menu. In another video in this series, I'm going to be explaining about mods in Ark and how they work and what the difference is between mods and DLCs and custom cosmetic packs and how to set them up and how to use them on single player or on a server. I'm working on that video already. It should be coming out soon. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss that when that comes out. I will try to remember to come back and link it here once it's done as well. If you don't see the link, feel free to remind me in the comments. We're just going to go to the middle section here, and this is where you're going to launch a single player game or a non-dedicated server, as it's called. It's not a true server. It's basically online multiplayer. Join game here is where you would join an actual dedicated server, either one of the servers in the official network or a privately hosted server or a rented server from Nitrado. Those are called the unofficial servers. Yeah, so those are all over in there, but we're not going to go into that right now. We're going to go over here into single player. And you can see I have a bunch of different maps available. These are the official arcs. You may only see the island on this list or just these four, depending on if you have all of the DLCs downloaded or not, but these are the official maps, and if it's got this little icon next to it, then that means you've got a save already in that map. And the way saves work in Ark is that you will have one save per map. So, you know, whatever you do on the island, if you then launch a Scorched Earth game, it's not going to overwrite whatever you did on the island. They're saved separately from each other, but you can't have more than one island save at the same time. I mean, there's ways to pull a backup, save it elsewhere, and then restore from backup, but we're not going to go into that. Down here at the bottom right, you'll see it says single player or non-dedicated. All the options are the same, and everything that I'm talking about works the same for non-dedicated, because you're setting it up so that you're hosting that game on the same machine that is also running the game for you, your console or your PC, and it is using one of your single player saves, whichever one you pick. So this is great for if you want to show a friend the base you built, or if you need a little help with a boss fight, a friend can hop in your game and help you out, or you and a friend can play together. Just know though that in non-dedicated, it really is your single player game. It's allowing another person to join it, but it's still your single player game. And the only way that the game can host other players in this resource heavy RAM hog graphics card frying beast of a game is if they can still treat it like single player. And how the game does that is by using a host tether. So that means that your friends, whoever else you are hosting, will not be able to go more than a certain distance away from you. And if they try to go farther than that, they will get teleported to you. So So you can't both get on there and run around and do your own thing. You have to plan on playing together and staying together if you're going to use that option. It can get a little annoying at times, but it is an option that works for a lot of people. You just have to know how to work with it. And if you don't like the tether, you have to rent or set up a different machine to be a dedicated server. Real quick, one other option that I forgot is that you can play on somebody else's dedicated server. You can either play on the official network or you can play on somebody's unofficial server. And there are thousands upon thousands of great unofficial server communities out there. I definitely recommend looking into those. There's all different kinds with different setups, different mod lists. I host some servers most of the time for my Patreons and channel members. And I also have a channel in my Discord where people can post their own servers that are looking for more players. So yeah, check that out if you would like to play on a dedicated server but don't want to rent your own. There's also another tab over here for mod arcs. This is for if you have downloaded any mod maps from the mods list. So to start with, you're not going to have anything there, but we'll just stick with the official Astraeus for now. Mod settings. This will show you, mods that you've chosen. So let's go back here. Game rules. So apparently they thought that settings was too complicated a word for us to understand. So now they're calling it game rules for whatever reason, but this is the settings area. So there's player, creature, structure, world, and rules. So game rules, rules. So this is the settings, something like that. Most of these I'm going to recommend leaving at default levels, at least to start, because this game is a very complex game. There are a lot of things to keep in balance, and if you start tinkering with things, it can have unintended consequences. I like to speed up resource gathering though, because I don't like sitting there chopping a tree or hacking down a rock for a really long time and then, not getting very many resources from it. Some people like the grind. I like to speed things up a little bit. I've got a lot of things to do. I don't have time for that. It can go all the way up to 6. If I'm playing in survival, I usually go up to at least about 4, but that is up to personal preference. Then we can go on to creature settings and max count. I would leave that default to start with. And then if the world is feeling kind of empty, there aren't enough creatures for you, you can bump that up, but be really careful with it. I would start with bumping it to like 1.2. Go up very slowly. Don't just jump to 2 or 5, because if you do that, you're likely to see some overspawns of some creatures, or in areas that normally have a lot more creatures, like in caves, there will be an overwhelming number of creatures, and it can also contribute to lag. You'll see that harvesting damage is already boosted to 3.2 here. The reason for this is because I believe by default, single player mode is activated. Single player mode is meant to rebalance a lot of these settings to make it a little bit easier for someone who's a beginner, hasn't played this game before, and who's playing by themselves. Arc is really balanced to be played with other people. It's really fun to play in a tribe. If you're playing by yourself though, and gathering everything yourself, taming dinos, breeding them, doing all of the things yourself, having some things boosted can really help a lot. I'm going to leave all of this where it is for now. And then this one, disable structure placement collision. It's always weird when they have an on-off for a disable thing. So it's kind of a double negative. It can be a little hard to figure out. But basically what this does is if it is on, which I do recommend, then it allows you to place structures that clip into the terrain, which, since there's a lot of uneven ground that you may want to build on, that makes it much easier to build on uneven terrain. So I definitely would always play with that enabled. And then world, build. The XP multiplier governs how fast you level up, basically. So if you want to level up quickly, you could boost this a little bit. Once again, be conservative, you know, use some decimals in there. If you want to boost it, start with maybe 1.2, you know, maybe 1.5. Don't just go crazy with it. Otherwise, you'll zoom past early game and won't really get the arc experience, so to speak. I usually leave it default, or sometimes I'll actually even lower it. If I want to slow down the progression a little bit, because I like that early game struggle, because it's rough. This game is very rough in the beginning, but those adventures are some of the ones you tell stories about later, honestly. Those struggles make for the best stories and the best memories. So yeah, I don't like to go through early game and on to mid game too fast. So I'll often even turn that down. Taming speed multiplier though, I usually turn this one up. In fact, I usually turn this one up all the way to 3. Because when you're taming a creature, in my mind, the hard part of that should be actually finding the creature you want to tame, a creature that's, you know, higher level of the type that you're wanting to tame. And then most creatures are tamed by knockout taming, where you have to render them unconscious and then feed them while they're unconscious, and somehow they wake up and are your friend. Don't think about it too hard. It's art. It's just the way it is. But once I've knocked a creature out, I don't want to sit there for a really long time waiting for it to eat the taming food and wake up. I would rather speed up that time. I don't usually want to change the amount of damage that I do or how easy it is to knock them out. But once they're knocked out, let's speed things up a little bit. Harvest yield multiplier. This scales how much you get from each harvesting node. So the harvesting damage, the other harvesting setting that we were just talking about a minute ago, that basically governs like how long it takes for you to break a boulder or chop down a tree, how many hits it takes. The harvest yield multiplier scales how much wood you'll get from chopping down that one tree, or how much stone you'll get from chopping that one boulder, for example. So I usually boost this one as well, since I don't love resource gathering. I'd rather boost that a little bit so that there's more time to do the other parts that I find fun, like the building and the taming and the exploring. But everybody's different. Some people enjoy the resource gathering and may want to leave it at default or just boost it less than this. Allows speed leveling. This was a little controversial. So if you're not familiar, in the original game, Ark Survival Evolved, players were able to level up their speed. So some players would choose to dump a whole lot of points into speed, and they would be riding around crazy fast, zooming around. And it did make things pretty difficult in PvP. If people are just zooming around so fast, it makes them very hard to hit. So yeah, that was a little controversial. In Ark Survival Ascended, by default, they disabled that. So players always are the same speed as each other. And also, you can't level up to a point where you're faster than certain dinos. You know, my default used to be, just wanted to be at least faster than a raptor on the beach. I wanted to be able to outrun at least some early game dinos. By default, if you can't level speed, you will always be slower than those creatures. They will always be able to catch you. So it is up to you, but I leave that on. Flyer speed leveling is another one that this one was actually disabled on official servers a long time ago in Ark Survival Evolved, mostly because people were leveling up their flyers to the point where, you know, they'd have a pteranodon that was so fast it could zoom from one end of the map to the other, and people were crashing servers with these things because they were so ridiculously fast. If you're not going to go that extreme with it though, I like being able to level speed on my flyers at least a little bit. I like to have speed leveling as an option, and so I usually leave that on. Maximum difficulty, that may sound scary, but difficulty in Ark, it's a complicated game. It works differently from most other games. I usually would recommend that you leave this on, actually, that you turn this on, because otherwise you're only going to find very low level creatures. If you've watched any ARC Let's Play videos, you may see people talking about being excited to find a dino that's a level 150 and taming that. And you're not going to find anything above like level 35 at the most if you don't enable maximum difficulty, because they're trying to keep it friendlier for beginners. But what ends up happening though is, yes, the raptor that kills you on the beach may only be a level 5 raptor or a level 10, but it's still going to kill you. And if you tame it, then you tamed one, great, but it's only a level 5 or level 10, and so it's not very strong, and it'll die pretty easily. And so I prefer to have the maximum difficulty on because it's not really that much more difficult to tame a higher level creature than it is a low level creature. But then once you do, you have a better creature that has a better chance of surviving longer. And then difficulty level, if you're going to set it to maximum, the maximum is, and it multiplies it by 30. And so that's why if you set it to level 5, that should make level 150 be the typical max level for dinos. Some people boost it higher than that, like to, if you put it on 6, then dinos can be up to level 180 or whatever. PvE mode, this may not seem like it's important if you're playing single player and nobody else is ever going to be on your map, but it actually is important because PvE mode doesn't just govern whether players are able to damage each other and hurt each other. Basically, the idea behind it is, can one tribe do damage to another tribe? The players, the dinos, structures, can they damage each other? That may not seem to be important when there's only one tribe, but the thing is, there's always another kind of invisible tribe, because when you've got dinos that are unclaimed, like babies that are born before you claim them, or dinos that you didn't want and so you unclaimed them, those then count as being in another tribe. You can't really set them loose into the wild. They're not wild if they're unclaimed. Unclaimed counts as another tribe. And so you can't damage, you can't kill unclaimed dinos. You can't cull your herd, so to speak, if you're in PvE mode. So I usually will leave that off, leave it in PvP mode, just to make that a little bit easier. And you may think right now, oh my gosh, I would never kill a baby dinosaur.
Oh, my sweet summer child.
I hope you keep those sweet thoughts about you, but eventually you reach a point where you have way too many mouths to feed and difficult decisions have to be made. And you can change this later on, so just be aware that this is a thing. Allow unlimited respecs. Yes, that is a handy one. I would leave that on. There's a potion in there called Mind Wipe Tonic that lets you reset your stat points. And this just makes it a little bit simpler to do that without having to gain another level in between being able to mind wipe again. Like if you messed up your respec and you need to fix it again, it just makes that a little bit simpler. And then rules over here, go through these real quick. Enable crosshairs, really useful. You want to be able to see that crosshair that makes aiming a lot easier. Yeah, just leave these for now. You don't need to mess with those. Disable friendly fire. So this I would leave off. It depends on your situation though. If you're a really bad shot and you're afraid that you might shoot one of your own dinos by accident and kill it, you might want to turn this on and disable friendly fire, which makes it impossible for you to harm your own creatures. If you leave this off, your creatures still cannot harm each other and they cannot harm you no matter what, but players can harm each other and players can harm their own dinos, which once again, like I said, if you want to cull your herd, then that makes that easier. And also if you and a friend just like to mess around and troll each other a little bit, prank each other, sometimes shooting your friends can be like therapy, right? It's fun. So I usually leave that on so that me and my friends can shoot each other if we want to, just for giggles. Use single player settings. This is on on by default. I would probably turn this off just for myself, just because otherwise I think this might override some of the changes I've been making. I usually leave that off though, because I like being able to adjust things individually myself, but that is definitely personal choice. If the game is feeling overwhelming for you at the start, go ahead. By all means, start out with single player settings. Feel free, of course. It's a game. It's supposed to be fun. You know, games are supposed to be fun. If it's not fun, then tweak the settings to make it more fun for yourself, okay? That's okay. There's no rules saying that you can only play one way. This game is a massive sandbox with dinosaurs in it. Within that environment, you can make it whatever kind of game you want, really. This game allows you to change so many things, and then once you add mods as well, you can turn this into a cozy survival game if you want to, or you can turn this into an even more difficult game. It's really up to you how you want to play, but for getting the best start out at actually playing through the regular survival experience, and these are what I would use if I was starting out a new save on a new map that I hadn't been on before, for example.
Well, I was going to go over the advanced settings as well, but this video is already 20 minutes long and I don't want to overwhelm you with too much information, so I'll save that for another video. Make sure to be looking out for that one when it comes out. But for now, this is all you need really to get started.
Let me click Save Settings first. Make sure these are all saved, and then if you're launching it as a non-dedicated server, you would click here and you would set the name of the session, and this is the admin password, so this is what you would type to be able to access cheats if you need to. Private match, I always mark this because I don't want my game where I'm maybe trying to play with a friend or two to show up in a list of servers that strangers can join. I don't want any random stranger just jumping into my game with me. So I always click the private match, and then since I'm a PC Steam player, if I'm playing with somebody else, I just have them join through the Steam friends list. That's just the easiest way to do it. If they just find me on their Steam friends list, there's an option to join game. I'm assuming that probably Xbox and PlayStation have something similar. Please let me know in the comments. So your friends still should be able to find you and join, but this will make it so strangers can't join. So anyway, I'm not going to actually do this right now though. If I'm going to launch single player, then I would just click it here and it will spawn me in and start up the game.
Let me know how it goes. I would love to hear how your experience is in Ark. I mean, any Ark player loves to hear about the early game experience because you can only play it for the first time once. And if you're a more experienced Ark player, then let me know what you think of my settings here. What did I get wrong? What would you do differently? How would you suggest that a new player get started? Let me know in the comments, please.
So I hope that was helpful. If it was, make sure to hit the like button. I would really appreciate it very much.
If you watch this all the way to the end, please leave a dinosaur emoji in the comments. Thanks.
You might want to check out this video next. I think this one might also help you. Oh no. Uh-oh. Yeah. So that's how things usually start out in Ark.